unbelievable when you're seeing that 1.2 million people fill this thing out. And that's all they were supposed to give. None of this, like, you want to see what information is required on that form. And yet, that's all you are legally required to give them. So, if a judge is in possession of this document, can you be prosecuted? If your name is up there instead of Ben, can you be prosecuted in any court on the strength of that document? It's not possible. Now, we're going to go back. Why is the signature and the date not on this document? Why is it not written in there? We have two reasons, two things can be the case. Now, either Phil Hogan is the biggest gobshite we've ever had and cannot write this thing properly, or he's the biggest snake that has ever slithered his way around this island. Now, it can't be, there's no grey areas that either he's made a genuine mistake and forgot to put it in. Who believes that? Or the other reason is he didn't put it in because he couldn't put it in. Now, why could he not put it in there? Why is it not there? And why can he not write a statutory instrument in the morning with it in?
He's acting up to jury outside his power.
Why?
Because he doesn't have that power.
Why? I feel like my 7-year-old now. I'm going to keep asking you why. Why? But why is it not in? Why can he not put it in? Right. What is the only way Phil could put in here, you must sign and date this document? What would he have to do? There you go. Phil would have to call a referendum. Now, but that's the reality. You cannot force another against his or her free will to make a declaration. You cannot, there is nowhere in law that will allow you. And you try it, you will end up in jail. It's like, this is an analogy that says, my daughter, if she went out, she met a young lad at a party, and she tells me in 2 months' time that she's pregnant. Okay? And I marched her and my shotgun down the road to this little chappie's house. And I call in and I put the gun on his shoulder and tell him, I want a declaration signed by you of your undying love for my daughter. Who ends up in jail? You understand? That's how simple this is. You cannot force another against his or her will to make a declaration. It is unlawful. Now,
the last report must be absolutely vetted by the ERA.
no, Preston, we
No,
don't.
I'm saying the legal system, because all the stuff that you're pointing out,
We have a situation, I'll be honest with you, I won't tell you this story, but this might just give clarity. We have a situation in Portleaf where we actually are based, that members of your own group are slating us. Okay? They are actually telling shareholders who have signed up with us that we are a scam. Now that's a fact, and it's unfortunate, because we brought this information to the man in Portleaf who was over that group, and we wanted him to roll this out to your groups. We did not want to be driving around Ireland, sitting here, when there was groups already there to do this.
I can't represent the people in Portleaf, but I can represent the people in Balbriggan.
No, but what I'm saying is, but it's no different.
I fully endorse what they're doing.
I understand, but
what
isn't
they're
it,
doing is not speaking on my behalf, or my group's behalf.
but isn't it shocking that you have this situation?
The first thing in Irish politics is divide and conquer. The first thing on the agenda is to split.
We have egos, you see, and this is the problem. But
I actually think that telco campaign would be absolutely disgrace.
but I'll be honest. But there's some spectacular people there. I'm not joking you, but the people themselves have been conned, and we have people from, say, this man's group and other groups. Like we've been in Athlone. We were down 6 Mile Bridge in Clare, and in fairness, there was a fierce turnout from your group, and they were absolutely fuming over this information, because they're saying, you know, this is offering real hope, and there is a solution in this, and that's what they're saying. So all of those people have, in fairness, rolled in behind them. and there's not an issue. Now, we're not here to fight, and we're not here to persecute this man. This man is doing good work, like, he's trying to help people, and that you can't...
But the campaign has lost.
Yeah, but the campaign, but like, I think most people have only realised that it's a political organisation behind it, and it probably, look, I don't know, I'm not here, it's not my business, but all I'm saying is that we have people, a lot of those people are actually working with us as coordinators now and doing very good work. So we can't knock what they're doing at all, they're doing very good work. Now, we've gotten to the stage that we understand, but I want to tell you a story. A man in Portlaoise came in and he challenged us because it was told to him that we are a scam. Okay? And he came in and he was full of fire. And he told us we should be ashamed of ourselves going around the country taking €2 off of everybody and we're going to do a runner with it. I don't think he understands the economics of it, because when we count it, it doesn't add up to the bills that we have for some reason. But he couldn't understand that side of it at all.
Apart from that, if it is a scam, you scam someone out €2, big deal.
Yeah, but you see, if you scam somebody out of €2 or 2 million, it's the same scam.
Well, it's not.
Well, it's wrong.
€2.
Yeah, but it's still wrong.
I'm just saying, from the point of view of the law. The law to the person is €2,
Yeah.
which makes it €2.
These guys are telling you this is a scam, and I can tell you it is not a scam.
It doesn't work. But look at,
Scam employs the word theft,
yeah.
which is illegal, and treating individually, I don't think what you're doing is illegal. In fact, I would offer my services to you on behalf of my group.
Well, that's very good to hear. We applaud you for that yourself, Mike. I'm going to tell you this. What?
Thank you for taking the time to come here.
But we actually genuinely, I'm not in this business for thanks, and we're not interested. We've an organisation set up in Attack Attacks that there's no room for chiefs. There's no chiefs in the organisation, so unless you're an Indian, you're not welcome. Because we've seen it all over this country where you have too many chiefs and no Indians. So we want all Indians and no chiefs, and then we won't have any of the headache. And we will be very strict on it. So somebody gets ideas of Bobby Station in what we're doing, he's out. I don't care how good he is. Because he's only going to rot the rest of the assets. And that's what happened. But anyway, this story was, this man came in breathing fire, and he said to me, what you're doing is wrong. And it's a scam, and it's this and that and the other. And it's calmed down, we start talking about legislation. And we start talking about how much of the legislation out there is a scam. And he still did not want to believe that there's a scam. And in the end, it came up that we were talking about a television license. And it turns out that the same man has a summons for a television license. And I said to him, the law behind the television license is no different than the scam that we are actually going to open up and show the people of this island. Well, what do you mean, he said to me. And I said, if you have a brain, you cannot be prosecuted for having no television license. And he said to me, oh. And he wanted to know all about this. And I said, we don't deal in criminal cases, and you're being prosecuted as a criminal. I don't want to talk to you about it. And no way would he leave that building until I clarified. So in the end, I said to myself, it turns out that he knew certain people as well who were talking about what we were doing being wrong. So I said to him, I'll tell you what I'll do. So if I show you how to defend yourself against your television license, will you believe me? Would you walk in again and defend yourself against the property tax? If I don't have to pay a television license, he says, I'll believe you. So I said, fair enough. So he said to me, I'm up in without a couple of weeks. I said, well, you go into court, you walk into the court, and when everything has started, you just walk forward and you tell the judge you want a Gary Doyle offer. A Gary Doyle offer.
Write it down.
Right. Now, this is not a criminal masterclass, okay? And we're not telling everybody here to stop paying their television license.
But it's actually spelled out.
Gary. It's a man's name, Gary Doyle. G-A-R, two R's or one? G-A-R-Y-D-O-Y-L-E. Now,
I know Gary, didn't I?
right. Well, anyway, the case was called and the TV license inspector was sworn into the box. And 4 men before him were up for no television license, and 4 men got fined, and 4 men got prosecuted. And then Gobshite walks up. They've called his case, and the state solicitor is talking away to the judge and handing her up paper, and the judge is writing away, as she did with all the others. And he walks forward and he says, Your Honour, I believe I'm entitled to a Gary Doyle order. And the judge said, writing. And then he said, Your Honour, excuse me, I believe it. And she said, I'm doing it, she said. So she then told the state solicitor to give the man the Gary Doyle order. So she adjourned the case, and she said, fair enough, we'll give him what he needs, and we'll come back here and we'll hear the case. Now, his case was up last Friday again. Now, he came down to me then again, of course. This is the man who comes in accusing us of being con men, and now he's in fretting because he got his Gary Doyle order. And I said, yeah, well, I didn't tell you I was going to tell you what to do with the Gary Doyle order. And he was all calm now, and he was all interested. I said, this is a man that we call him out con men, and now he wants not none of the information. So we went through the Gary Doyle order anyway, and he says to me, I'm in serious trouble, he says, because the Gary Doyle order, they have a receipt from the television licence I bought 3 years earlier, and I'm screwed. So I looked at it and I said to him, well, how can that be admissible evidence? And he says, but sure, I bought it. I can't say I didn't buy it. He says, I did buy it. And I said, yeah, but who is going to testify in court that your circumstances today are identical to the circumstances you had 3 years ago? So his wife could have left him and took the television. Do you understand? So like this is logical. So you can't argue with this. So now that stuff is inadmissible. So now I said, so that's not in the Gary Doyle order, that's gone. So now I said to him, all you have in the Gary Doyle order is a letter that was sent to him stating that the inspector called to his home and found him in possession of an unlicensed television set. Now I said to him, did you drop something out of the envelope when you opened it? And he says, like what? I said, like a photograph of you standing at your front door in your dressing gown with the television in your arm. And he said, no. And I said, well, unless he has that, he's in serious trouble, because now he has no evidence. You understand? So I said, the next day you go into the court, you walk into the court, and when you call the case the next time, you stand forward again, and you say, Your Honour, I'd like to strike this case for want of prosecution. So the case was called into the Portuguese court, it was jammed, and up he goes, the case is called, your man's in the box again, and he stands forward and says, Your Honour, I want to strike this case for want of prosecution. And the judge looks around and she looks at the state solicitor, what's going on, and then they all start whispering. He's standing there waiting to see what's going on, is he going to be struck? And the solicitor is talking to her, and eventually she turned around and she said, this court is too full to deal with this today. And she's adjourned it until the 19th of July. Now why would you think that happened? Because the judge has whispered down to the state solicitor and said, have you the fucking evidence? And he said, no, I don't. And she's saying, well, I can't strike this out in front of all these other guys. Because the next thing is, what happens if the next fella says, I'm going to do the same as him done? Do you understand? Now that's how that case has went, and that case you can go and check that case is still live, it's still running, but he has not been prosecuted for having no television license. Now it is up again in July. Now they have two choices, they either withdraw the case or they're going to have to dismiss it. Now, so either the next day they will leave it to the very last case of the